Right, so as a quick reminder, this is where we need to put the new PCB. So basically it's just going to be mounted in here. And if we look at the one above, you can see basically two mounting rails. So these are actually screwed onto the board, and then the bars are then just mounted to the case with these little angled brackets. So what we're going to need to do is just add some of these bars to the existing card, and then we could screw it in. I think what I'll do for the moment, because there's only actually two cards in here, and this memory card's actually a double height card. So what I'll do is I'll just fit it into the backplane and then just leave it in place for the moment. Once we've got some more cards in here, so there's a couple of register cards that need to go into here, then I think that's the point where I'll screw them in permanently. You can also see up here as well, this is the original design I used for these backplane cards. So you can see it's got the wavy ribbon cable going across, and that's basically the equivalent of those lines on the board. And what I might do is you can't really see it over here, but behind here is the W backplane, behind all this mess of cables, and that one's interesting because whereas this one's just got the same connectors down each point, that one actually has two different types of connectors because of the amount of buses that need to go into that backplane. Now I have got a few wiring faults on there where if you move the card slightly left or right, what I'm finding is it's making a weak connection, and it's probably just down to the really poor way these actually are put together. So actually I think that might be the next thing I'm making a PCB, and if I do that, I think I'll actually do it as a handmade PCB. Actually, for the register cards, I have now done the design for them, and actually have put an order in for them, so they'll be arriving soon. So I'll definitely do a blog on those later on. But because they're double-sided boards, there's just no chance I was going to be able to make them by hand. I'm just really not confident in that. Right, okay, let's move on. So this is the profile that I wanted to use, the aluminium profile. So the idea basically is that will if we look here at the screw holes that will need to go here, here, here and here. And the idea then basically is that will mount onto this piece of metal like that. And then there'll be a hole here then to put the brackets on. So all I need to do basically is drill the holes in here, drill corresponding holes in here, and then we will use some M4 screws and brackets. So what I have is these nylock washers. So these basically just normal washers that just have a little ring inside them, and they'll just stop them undoing by themselves. And then we have some M4 standoff posts, which are basically these ones here. So they're the right ones I'm going to use. And then basically what will happen is a regular screw will go in on that side, so that then goes onto the board like that. And then this bolt then mates up with a thread on this side to lock it into the bar. And there's two of these, one above, one below, and all they're really there for is just so that when you're pushing cards in, the board has good support and something to push against on there, so it's not pushing over too far. Right, okay, so I'm going to set up to, first of all I just need to hacksaw these to the right size, and then I can get drilling. So I'm just going to move the camera around and we'll set up for that. Right, so I'm going to start with drilling the holes in the card itself. Just thought actually this is probably something I should have done earlier, because if I now trash this all now, it's going to be a bit of a wasted board, but we'll just go gently with it. So I've just got a 4mm HSS bit in here. Actually, it might be just be worth just checking it against the post, just make sure it's okay. So yes, that's fine for the width there. Yes, I'm just going to drill the what is it now, 4 holes each side, so 8 holes to drill. I'm just going to go quite steady with them. Now I did say before this is a HSS bit, so the drilling through fiberglass is not great for these bits, but to be honest I'm not doing too much of it, so these sort of things are fine. But obviously drilling all the little holes, you definitely need a specialised drill bit for that. Right, let's see what we can do with this then. So there's already a little pilot hole that I've done with the other drill bit, and that should help me just locate this nicely. Right, let's go for it. Now, I seem to have got that on hammer drill setting, which is not really what we need, because this isn't a concrete wall. Right, there we go. Cool, okay, that's the first hole drilled. That's come through okay on that side. I'm drilling it from the back through to the front because I know it might splay out a little bit, but that's fine on this side. And what I'll do is I can just sand it off if there's any extra bits. Right, let's do the rest. Cool, right, that's all drilled and the holes look to be pretty much centred. Actually, there's one slightly off there, but I'm not too worried. And the good thing is I've had this before on these where they're not quite perfectly centred, but it'll all work out. Because again, these posts give you enough slack. So what I can do now is I can mount each of these in place like that. Now what's interesting here is actually I've got the green coat on here, which is going to stop this ground plane actually making connection with these. Ideally I should probably use a washer on these, and I might just see if I've got any actually, just to give a bit of separation. Now I did actually have the design so that there is a circle around the hole. But what I've just remembered, of course, is with these being a hexagon, they're probably likely to bridge over that. So I think I will just see if I've got one, but if not, I'm not too worried actually. Right, okay, so that's the bars in, so that'll sort of give it something to push against. So now I just need to line these bars up. Now one I've already got, and I suspect that is the right length, so I'm just going to double check that on the computer now, and if it is then that's fine, but obviously this one definitely is not the right length. So just magically off camera, I'm just going to go down and just check this. All I'm doing is just trying it against one of the existing ones. Yeah, that's about the right length. The good thing with these is there's plenty of play in them, so it's not a problem for them to be slightly over or under length. So I want another one to be about the same. So if I just quickly mark that up, should have got a pencil somewhere. Oh, I've got one in here. Cool. So I'm just going to mark that up again, very roughly. I'm hardly the master of precision at the moment. Cool. Right, now I need to think what I need out of this drawer, because I'm going to bring my little vise over in a second, and once I get that I can't go back in this drawer again for obvious reasons you'll see in a moment. Cool, yeah, I think that's everything. Right, so I've got the world's tiniest, puniest vise here, so I'm just going to bring that over here. Oh yeah, I forgot I'm using my tripod here, so you're going to get an awful lot of shaking here, so I might just fast forward this bit in a second, because what will happen is I've actually bought a new holder for my camera that I've been using when I've been shooting from above and sort of to the side. In this particular case, do it that way, I'm right-handed. Yeah, in this particular case I'm now back on a tripod, so when I start cutting this, the camera's going to shake all over, so if you get ready, and we'll do some cutting. I've just got a piece of card on the floor as well, because I'm going to make a lot of mess now. Right, so the way these will work is if I turn this the right way around, these are in like a U-shaped channel, as you can see just there. So what I want to do is have the open part of the channel facing downwards, so basically it'll look like that. And the idea is then basically I can drill the holes for that. I can then put the washers in, put these into the washers, sorry, not the washers, into the nuts, tie those all down and then screw this basically from the front, and that's basically the finished article. And what it'll do is it'll look like that and that. Ooh, right, yeah, that and that. And that'll do basically. And what will happen then is I have some brackets over here somewhere. Yeah, these ones look quite good. And the good thing with these is that I can then screw this bracket in to the side of the enclosure, and then I just need a hole somewhere in there. Oh, gotta stop doing that. Yeah, a hole somewhere in there basically, and then just drill it through, and it gives me a little bit of movement on there. What I'll probably do is once these are loosely fitted on there, I'll just try it against the unit and just see how they measure up, and then just get a rough idea where I need to drill the holes. Cool, right. Now these washers I'm going to use are quite interesting because they're, well, interesting if you like that sort of thing, I guess. They're quite chunky, and I think what happens is they're slightly bigger than what will fit in the channel. So if I try and do a side-by-side comparison, it's going to come out on the camera because it's probably working way too small. If I just sit it in there, it will just sit in just nicely, but what that means is I need to drill the hole slightly further down than you might expect. So if I put that in there, I can see it sits more or less flush with the edge. But to do that, that means I need to, oh, fiddly, be doing my hole about there-ish. So it's lower down than you might otherwise expect, and that has caught me out in the past. So do need to watch out for that. Otherwise, what I tend to find is when you try and screw it in, then the bolt's sort of trying to move out of the way, which is no good. Right, okay, so what I do with the pencil is I'm going to take each one of these and I want to get it roughly centred on there. These should be about the same from each edge. Yeah, it is, yeah, so those, so if I centre this bar, it should be roughly even down from both sides as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it sort of on there. So if I just quickly put this on here and get it centred by eye, just make sure it's roughly the same, and then what I can do is I can draw a line up where each of these screws appear. Now that should be the same for the top and bottom one, but what I'm going to do is I will do these ones separately. So same again, just if I just make it roughly centred. Let's come over a little bit more. Also looking from above as well, just to sort of get it by eye. That one still looks like it's a fair way over. Yeah, looks better. So again, just going to mark, and mark it. So that's the top one. So now what I do now, I need to think about where that bolt's going to go through. So I think it was, if I get my little screwdriver, ruler out. It is really about, a little bit, it's about 3 mil down, I need to be doing the cross section. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Pencil won't work in that direction, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight for the punch. So 1, 2, 3. Right, this is going to shake the camera and the whole desk and pierce my eardrums. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Oh, my ears. My neighbours must love me. Now, one of the problems when drilling this is, with it being aluminium, it can get quite hot. So what I've sometimes done in the past is just use a little spray of WD-40, just to sort of lubricate where it's drilling. What I might do is just put a little bit on the drill bit itself. I've got the world's tiniest can of WD-40. Again, that's not far away. It's just very, very tiny. And if I just do a little dab on the end, that'll just help. So otherwise everything does get very hot very quick. So I'm just going to do a little dab on the end. Actually, I'll do it onto the aluminium itself. I've not used this one before, so I don't know how much is going to come out. The answer is trying to be careful. I don't want to do it on the cardboard first. Okay, quite a bit will come out. I should try these things off camera rather than just doing them all in front of you. Brilliant, that's what I wanted. Just a bit of a dribble. Way too much. Too much. Probably not quite enough. Right, let's drill this. Okay, that's one done. What I'll do in a minute off screen, I'll have a bit of a tidy up because I now have aluminium swarf everywhere, such is my want. Should say off camera as well, I am actually wearing eye protection for this because there is literally bits of aluminium just going everywhere. So again, I don't particularly want any of that in my eyes. So I've just got a pair of these again, and just in case of any worry about me losing my eyesight, which is highly likely the way I'm going. So now in the past this has been quite fiddly, because what I need to do now is put these in and make them up with the screw on the other side. And I know this has been really fiddly in the past, and it's going to be a two-hand job. And I still can't get to my pliers. Okay, scoot those out. So how am I going to do this? I think in the past I've held that in place like so, and then I've just fed the nut through. Now the good thing is, to begin with, these will go in quite smoothly, and it's once they hit the little black plastic there where they become really tight to fit in. So what I'll do is I'll just loosely fit these to begin with, and then I can have a go later on at tightening them up. Really need a spanner set on this, so this is all about using the wrong tool again. Well, somehow I've managed to rustle up some washers. Not as many as I need, but they'll certainly do the trick, and they should be big enough to cover the part of the thing that I'm worried about, so that will actually just isolate that off quite nicely. Which is good, but I think I definitely will order some of those in. Right, okay, so what I should be able to do now is I should be able to offer this, make sure it's the right way around, up to the board, and hopefully all the screw holes will line up magically, which they, drum roll, do. I think. Cool, these have lined up pretty well actually. The last one's a little out of line, but that's going in quite well. Cool, so that's now what it looks like. So now we have the two metal bars on there, and that gives a nice surface for the cars to push against when they're going in. Alright, let's quickly drop down to the computer and just mark up where these brackets are going to go, and then yeah, 4 more drill holes and we're getting close. Right, okay, so as well, I'll try not to get into my own light now. So just move some of these cables out of the way, and what I'll do is I'll just disconnect this one, whatever this one is, and try and remember which way around it went in as well, because I'll need to go back in again in a second. Right, okay, so very fiddly, very fiddly. So I'm looking for here really is just the left to right measurements. I'm not too worried about the depth of this one at all. What we'll do is just push these memory cards out a little bit. Now what I need to do is take the front of the case off. And then I can just push those forward a bit. What I'll do when I actually come to fitting this is the way to do it is to put the cards into the backplane. So push the cards right to the back of the backplane, push the cards into each of the connectors, and then sort of push the whole assembly forward. And then basically what that'll do is that'll just mean that all the cards are going to guarantee to line up. Now, if I look at this now, I should see that each one of these lines up nicely with these little runner rails. I don't know if you can quite see those, but there's the card running rails, and effectively the what would happen is, let's just go off to one slide slightly, so it should be like that. I think what I'd better do is actually now I'm going to need to plug some of these cards in, just get an idea of where everything goes. So So effectively I can see that if they're in those sockets there, this needs to be more or less flush up to here. What are you catching on? Oh, this is a cable coming down there for that one. Okay, I need to tuck that under then, and then bring it back. See, it's very fiddly this because there's not a great deal of working room. Right, I think that's in its final place. That's where it needs to be. I'll just try over here. That should be about flush there. Brilliant. And again, as I said before, as long as they're roughly in the right place, because what I'll do is I'll do the hole basically in the middle of this, and then I know I'm in a good place. One is going to be there. And again, I'll do these 3mm. I've drawn all over my hand now as well. There. Cool. Right. There you go. See, I've got it all over my hand. It's not like it's a Sharpie though, so it's not like it'll stay in forever. Right. All right. Let's get those holes drilled. Right, that's all the drilling done. The handles just fell off my vise, which is nice. Right, I'm going to just have a quick hoover, then we'll get back. Right, rather embarrassingly, I've just managed to hoover up one of my washers, which is I'm enormously pleased about, as you can well imagine. So I'm definitely going to need to get some more of those. Just looking actually where I need the washers the most, because I'm now down to a choice of 5. I think basically it's going to be the holes that are a bit close to where the traces are. I think are the ones I'm particularly worried about. So I'll keep an eye on those. So for me, that's going to be the one down there needs one. All those bottom ones are a bit iffy, to be honest. So I'm going to put one on that one as well. So, and again, just being careful not to over tighten those, because it's only more to just stop it moving up and down and so on. Right, well that's pretty much it, I think. So there you go. So that's now the PC backplane. Sorry, PC backplane. I'm definitely going to stop and go and have some food. This is the Y backplane with the bars on now, ready to fit in the computer. I shall rejoin you now tomorrow when I've eaten, had a good sleep, and ready to put this in. What we'll do then at that point as well is we'll try and route all the cables. So actually, yeah, there's definitely going to be a fair bit more to do on this. So I'll show you routing the cables, because that's another pain in the backside, especially for some of the buses that are split. So I'll route some of those. I'll show you putting the power in, and then we'll give it a quick test. I'm a bit worried with that memory card actually, that by moving it around might upset it, but we'll give it a test anyway and see it working. To be honest, it's been a while since I've fired the computer up actually. I suppose the last time probably was in April, I think actually. Yeah, it would have been. So the computer's not actually been fired up since April. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it's all working, and I'll give it a full test. So I'll try and get a video of that as well. Anyway, that's enough for tonight. I shall see you in a bit.